Now in this video we're gonna create this front curtain wall. To create the curtain wall, what we are going to do is we're going to go with wall, because curtain wall is a type of wall. And if I go in here, storefront is what we used for this window. We're going to use the curtain wall. It's a basic curtain wall, and the base offset should be 0. It starts at level 1. The top constraint should be up to level 2. There is no top offset for this curtain wall, so it starts from level 1, goes up to level 2. It's just a basic curtain wall. And if you want to, if you can remember, if you say edit type, you can go in and you can see that automatically embed is usually not set up in the basic curtain wall. So if you want your curtain wall to be automatically embedded, especially if you're using the curtain wall, the basic curtain wall, you need to make sure that this is checked. So I'm just going to leave it as such and say OK. And now we can go ahead and start drawing our curtain wall. I'm just going to go in and scroll in a bit and just start drawing our curtain wall. It doesn't have to be precise. We can go back and we can edit. I don't have my staircase core built, but that's what I'm going to do next once I'm done with this. So that's my curtain wall, and I want to make sure that I see this, so I'm gonna make it a little bit longer, because what I want to do is I want to look at this elevation and see where this point is, because what we need to do is we need to create a series of grids on this curtain wall so we can add our dough here. So we need a grid here, grid here, grid here, and a grid there. Remember, that's the end. So let's go into our elevation. In this case it's going to be our south elevation, so I'm going to go scroll down, find our south elevation. There we are, and this is that the glass panel that we just saw, this one here. So that's that. Let's go ahead and start creating our curtain grid. So go to architecture, curtain grid, and when you place it, it's going to place it at the center, and that's how we want it to be, even. So let's do that. Let's do that there. This one's fine. Here, what I want to do is I want to add a grid right about here at the end, there, and I want to then add another grid here. I want to add another grid somewhere here. So this part is where we are going to get our dough. So this is going to be 2,6. Let's make this 2,6 as well. When you're changing temporary dimensions, whatever line or wall that you're selecting is what's going to get affected by this change that you make. So let's say I selected this and made a change here. Let's say I made it 2.6. This grid is going to move onto this side. Now if I selected, let's say there was a grid here, and if I selected that instead of this, then this grid would be the one that would move. So the selected grid or selected wall or whatever element that you've selected is what's going to move if and when you change the temporary dimensions. So 2,6 is what we want, because this was 2,6. This was 2,6, and we have two equal glass panels on the two sides, and then we have the central glass dough here, and we want a horizontal grid as well. So I'm going to go with curtain grid and add a horizontal grid. Now this is going to be at, let's say, 8,6. Let's do 8,6. If you have a different number, that's fine. It doesn't really matter. I'm just making things up as I go. So this could be 8,6 or 8. That's fine. Now we have a place to place our dough. The rest is just adding mullions. So I think that looks pretty good. Let's see. So this is our curtain wall. The next thing that I want to do is let's add the dough here. So I'm going to go into my south elevation, and in order to add a dough into a glass curtain wall, it's a little bit different from the ways that we add doors to walls. right? If you remember what we talked about previously. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to select this particular glass panel and then add a dough. Now before that, we need to make sure that we have glass doughs available in our drawing. Sometimes it comes with our templates, sometimes we need to load it ourselves. Anyways, let's do this. In order to see if we have glass doughs and in order to select where we need to place the dough, what we need to do is just move our cursor on top of a grid near the opening that we want to select. Press tab a couple of times on your keyboard. When it highlights the section or the glass panel that you want to be selected, just click on your mouse. Click your mouse. And then your glass panel gets selected. You'll see that it's getting selected when you go into your properties panel. You see system panel glazed. That means you're selecting the glass panel. Now when you click this type selector down, you should see a dough. If a dough was loaded, you should see a dough. Now I don't see any doughs. That means I don't have any doughs loaded here. Now you can't add any regular dough here. You need to have a glass curtain wall dough. So you need to go into insert, as in anything in Revit, as I mentioned. When you want to bring something in, you need to go to insert and then load the family. So you go to insert and say load family, and in this case I need to go into where my families are. This is selecting my Dobson folder, which is not where my families should be. My families are in a different location. So I'm gonna find my families by going into I need to search for my families. So